Hi, I invite you to imagine the following scenario. You are sitting alone in your room. Maybe you have specific plans about what you want to do or think about in the following hours. Or maybe you don't. But even so, in the background of your mind, there exists some organizing principles about how you want to live your life and what activities and thoughts can bring you closer or farther from your aspirational self. But now imagine there is this other invisible agent in the room with you who has a rather different idea about what you should be doing and thinking. Your plans and ideas are not aligned with their agenda. This invisible agent will therefore do everything in their power to subtly influence your thoughts and decisions so that your actions are ultimately lucrative for their own interest. The agent has the ability to slip subtle cues in your sensory field, like images or sounds, that are likely to trigger a desired reaction from your part, without you being fully aware that someone else is toying with you. Furthermore, the invisible agent is endowed with another superpower, namely a huge informational advantage over you. They can follow your gaze with utmost precision, knowing exactly what you are looking at any given moment. Because they've been following you for most of your life, and because they are very good in reading humans in general, they know very well what your facial micro expressions and the subtle movements of your body say about what you feel in reaction to the temptations thrown at you. Moreover, their knowledge of you extends to information about your heart rate and body temperature. Uh, these things can help them further infer what you really think and feel about what you see. But they don't even need to use that kind of information most of the time because they already know you too well and you are just so predictable. Now, reflect back at this scenario and let me ask you two things. Firstly, do you think you stand any chance against this invisible manipulative force? Can you still make your own decisions and keep with your own goals? Or will you inevitably become a mere puppet of this invisible agent? And secondly, who do you think you are? Are you a monk in his cell in the 14th century being observed and tempted by the devil? Or B, a 21st century person with a standard number of connected devices, just browsing the internet on a smartphone in their room and being observed and tempted by AI algorithms? As you can notice, even though the two setups and the presupposed motivations of the invisible agents are obviously very different, there is an eerie resemblance that begs further exploration. Now, this is not me saying that AI is the devil or the devil's tool, of course, but I find it fascinating that many current AI applications seem to have so much in common with the purest form of intelligent evil imaginable in monotheistic religions. Another question that I think is worth addressing regards Christian demonology. In light of this power imbalance between humans and AI algorithms, and more generally, in light of what modern science reveals about human cognition and decision making, a big question mark can be raised regarding the adequacy of some demonological models still in use. And I'll explain why I think that. So, we know that modern AI algorithms try and often succeed to predict our behavior and present us with just the right temptations to trigger the desired response, be it clicking, watching, sharing, or buying something. They do this by gathering huge number of data points from your external behavior and refining their models of who we are. You may know the widely acclaimed documentary, The Social Dilemma, which shows how these algorithms build and improve a sort of voodoo-like model of each user. With every action that we take online, These profiles are further refined until they reach impressive predicted power in regards to our future behavior. In addition, with the rising ubiquity of connected devices and the Internet of Things, the knowledge of these algorithms might extend below our skin. Biometric data, and why not in the future, maybe also neurological data, could further help AI algorithms figure out how we feel about what they feed us. It will allow them to make real-time adjustments and therefore maximize their predictive and manipulative capacity. Even if the algorithm will probably not be able to know your thoughts in the very real sense, by triangulating this kind of information, it will be able to infer them pretty accurately, or at least those thoughts that are of interest for its purposes. As I hinted earlier, this strangely resembles the way demonic agency is portrayed in some Christian traditions. I'm talking here of those traditions that consider demons as real, personal, angelic entities, and not just symbols of the bad sides of our soul. As a parenthesis, let me point out that it is rather difficult to find any reliable dogmatic information about what the devil knows. But from the few biblical references to the devil and from traditional medieval texts, such as the sayings of the Desert Fathers or the life of Saint Anthony, it can be inferred that the devil can know everything except one's own heart and thoughts. In my own tradition, Eastern Orthodoxy, it is believed that the devil can see everything one says and does, except for what is being said during the sacrament of confession. But just as modern AI algorithms, the devil needs to rely on external behavior and presumably biometric data to infer one's thoughts and feelings. Unlike current algorithms, however, the devil has incomparably more data to build its model on. If we take the devil hypothesis seriously, then we might imagine such a demonic intelligence being in possession of huge, though not unlimited, resources of memory and computation. Think of Laplace's demon as an example of what I'm talking about. Demonic intelligence has 24/7 access to its human target for the entirety of one's life. Moreover, historical data from tens of thousands of years and of observing human behavior can be fed into the so-called algorithm of demonic intelligence, as well as presumably deep scientific knowledge of physical laws of human psychology and biology. The devil is in some way more powerful than AI algorithms could ever aspire to be. However, in Christian theology, in spite of this, yes, impressive profile of the devil, the belief is that we are still able to determine our own fate, even if the devil has this colossal informational advantage over each of us. It is a core tenet of Christian anthropology that we are ultimately free in our actions. In contrast, current concerns that AI algorithms might manipulate us and rob us of our freedom are built on the presupposition that we are ultimately hackable. Which one is it then? Is Christian anthropology naive in ascribing such a high degree of agency and freedom to humans? Or on the contrary, are we wrong to be so concerned about AI manipulation in the first place? In other words, if the devil, with all those tools at its disposal, did not succeed so far in fully hijacking humanity, what can some significantly weaker AI algorithms achieve? My brief tentative conclusion is that the type of demonology described earlier is shown to be rather untenable. The fact that most, if not all of us are susceptible to being manipulated by AI algorithms reveals that our thoughts and feelings are to a certain extent hackable. This is not a total surprise, of course, but it does imply that a malevolent entity as powerful as our theoretical devil would by now have completely won the spiritual warfare. So to reverse the question posed earlier, if AI algorithms that are so limited can to some extent break us, how then could anyone stand any chance against the mighty devil? Historical evidence, of course, shows otherwise. Virtue and holiness are still possible, from the story of Job in the Bible to modern saints, and even to small personal victories that regular people have from time to time against what we see as evil. If AI then teaches theologians anything here, it is that we have overestimated the devil. On a different note, the fact that a significant strand in contemporary AI strikes so many similarities with the Christian idea of the embodiment of pure evil should perhaps give us some pause. The disruptive effects of society of new technologies in the past few years have brought forward the idea that there should be a wider and more inclusive discussion about what AI should be and do. In other words, it is the job of engineers to invent and optimize these technologies, but it is not theirs to define what they should be optimized for. There is increasing interest from the tech community to reach out to philosophers, ethicians, and even theologians and spiritual leaders to get a more sapiential perspective on such issues. In the field of theology and science, we often ask ourselves what, if anything, from our religious traditions, we might be able to bring to the interdisciplinary roundtable. Everyone agrees that technology should contribute to a more humane world, and it should therefore enhance the better angels of our nature. But these are often rather difficult to precisely define. What this paper, I hope, did is uh, it outlines a striking parallel between some contemporary forms of AI and demonic intelligence. This idea speaks for itself about what Christian tradition might indicate is not the direction in which AI should be developed. What then is the right direction from a theological perspective? Well, let's leave this complex question open for some other time. Thank you.